Bitcoin emergency update. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is we are near the all time recent bottom before we're going to see all time new highs. The bad news is that we're not quite there yet. So, in today's video, we're going to cover the detail on the technical position where we're measuring the psychological mood of the buying and selling behavior and why we're so accurate with our Bitcoin analysis. So, let's dive straight in. So if you've been watching my content, you'll know that I really just go into Elliott waves, which really measures the psychological move. And markets moves in fives and threes. And what we see with Bitcoin, if we zoom out from 2017, a nice impulsive bullish market with long correction, a 3, 4, 5. And then recently we've had this textbook A, B, and what looks like a C. So we're at the end of this major correction. Now, if this unfolds as anticipated, what we're looking at over the coming months and years is all-time new highs. And we've seen this time and time again because the market's going through cycles and trends. So we're going to look into the detail now on a daily chart. That was a weekly chart. We're going to go into my top right-hand corner and we're going to look at this last part of this move happening over here. Because again, markets tend to subdivide and Bitcoin looks like it's subdividing into a nice 1, 2, 3, and it looks like an ABC of a 4. And we're doing this final move to the downside. So we're going to zoom a bit more into this in just a second. Before we do, I want to invite you to take a look at my new crypto gym, R15 Crypto Gym, where we do daily workouts and my students are making great profits. On Solana, which is one of the workouts that we do, we identified the top, I even identified it on YouTube, and it's moved beautifully with a 5-way sequence to the downside. And now taking profits on half the position over here. This is what we anticipate over the coming days with detailed Elliott wave and Fibonacci time and price analysis. And then we're going to add positions here if this occurs and then really ride the trend to the downside. So with the R15 Crypto Gym, your back end looks like this. You're going to get loads of goodies. One of them is you'll get my crypto charts, the Binance chart, Solana chart. You get two workouts we're doing at the moment, which is both Solana and BNB. And you're also going to get access to my 7-day bootcamp where I cover some of the core fundamentals of Elliott wave and Fibonacci price. And we're doing a 7-day trial for just £1. I know, it's insane. It's insane. People are loving it. It's great. We're getting results. And it's really, really, it's where the rubber meets the road. But going back to Bitcoin, right, the same principles apply. So what we're looking at over here is what looks like, is even clearer on an hourly chart. In fact, let's dive into an hourly chart. I'm going to go into the bottom right-hand corner on this hourly chart. Let's do it like this. All right, what we have over here is what you want to understand. More than fundamentals, more than the news, more than, it's the psychological mood. People are speculating on all different degrees on Bitcoin's price. It's the same with stocks, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Netflix. It's the same. What's driving buying and selling behavior is the psychological mood of fear and greed. That's ultimately it. And Ralph Nelson Elliott figured this out in the 1900s, and it applies incredibly well to crypto. And we just see it time and time again. So what we have over here with Bitcoin, and why it's good news and bad news, is it looks like we got one more move to the downside, and we're coming towards what looks like the end of a final sequence. So over here, when you get used to this, you'll see there's a move down that's quite impulsive, and then there's a correction. It's typically an ABC correction. And then there's another impulsive move down. There's what you call a wave 3, which is normally the most impulsive wave. And then it looks like a sideways ABC of a wave 4 that's comparative to this correction over here, right? I know we're going into detail, but there's method to the madness, right? And we can rely upon this more than any news that you're ever going to find on whether it's social media or, because people are just saying all types of things. We can ignore that and just look at the technical position, the price action right now. So what I want to bring to your attention is, all right, typically wave 3s, I'm going to do a Fibonacci ratio over here. Typically if we measure wave 3, wave 4s are typically 38.2% of wave 3s, right? And we can see that's close over here. And what I'm referring to is this as some type of A, or even an A, doesn't really matter here, A, B, C correction, right? That's what we're calling the potential wave 4. And wave A's and C's tend to have a relationship with each other. Now that we've had, I'm going to zoom in over here now so you can really, really see this clearly. Now that we've had this big move to the downside, right, with Bitcoin going from, was it 22,000 to like 19,000? This big move to the downside, it overlapped into this range over here. That's not a healthy sign. That's not a sign of strength. That's a sign of weakness. It's a pattern reversal signal to go, okay, this looks like we're making a big move to the downside. So now let's just focus on this part of the market and see what we can see over here. All right, if we're putting a wave count on this, right, from an Elliott wave perspective, and this is what I meant by the good news and the bad news. Bad news is it still looks like we're going to have some more downside movement. The good news is I don't think it's going to be for that long, right? I got itch on my nose today. Itch on my nose. Oh, there you go. It's satisfying my itch. All right, here we go. So what is the count? Well, very, very simply, this is a nice move down, and we've got a sideways A, B, C correction. And we've got another move down, which looks like a nice wave 3. So what should we anticipate? Well, probably more than likely, once this high gets exceeded, if it does, we'll probably get a wave 4. Right? And this is detailed analysis, I know, but just so we can really prepare ourselves for what Bitcoin's likely to do. And we're probably going to have the price is going to probably be longer in time. I'm just going to do a time analysis. So let me just do this very fast because we can have some time frames, right? With Fibonacci time can be very, very powerful for us. Let's just peg the low. Now I'm jumping the gun a little bit. We haven't had this low confirmed yet. We ideally want to see a swing high be exceeded and then some type of 3-wave structure. But when this is relatively simple, this wave 2, and there's a guideline of something called the principle of alternation. When wave 2 is relatively simple, wave 4 tends to be complex. That means wave 4 is typically longer than wave 2, more often than not. So we know that Bitcoin's wave 4, if it unfolds, it's probably going to be for 1 or 2 days, longer than this point, basically longer than this one. That's what this red line represents, and a minimum of this price. So why I'm drawing this for you is what you should prepare for. Again, this is just me forecasting a little bit here, but some type of 3-wave structure that's going to look like this, probably be a bit more like this, and then one more move to the downside. And then what will that look like? It's probably going to be something like this. I'm going to zoom out in a second. I've done some other analysis over here, so I'm just going to zoom out as much as I can on the hourly chart. And what we're looking at over here is potentially the end of a major corrective pattern for Bitcoin. Since November last year, we're talking about 7-8 months of sideways to down. What we would need to see, though, for confirmation, we will need confirmation. What would be our major confirmation? Would be price going above this swing high, would be our first signal that we can have confidence. That is likely we may have seen a low that's going to last for many months, maybe years over here, right? We haven't got that confirmation yet. So we need to see that before we can have confidence in seeing this happen. And then what will be next, if I jump back in, is a stronger confirmation eventually would be if this high over here is exceeded, which is a major swing high, and so on and so forth. And then this down here, we're talking about, what's the price? Around $17,000 Bitcoin potentially. And it's based on this 1, 2, what looks like a 3, a 4, and then a final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which has a relationship of this as well. There's another principle in Elliott wave theory, which really applies incredibly well to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, is that when wave 3 is the impulsive wave, in other words, this over here, wave 1, which is this part here, and wave 5 tend to have a direct relationship, and they're pretty equal. And if they're not 100% of one another, it's normally 1.618. And that's what this green line is down here. That's what this line is projected from. It's actually measuring this over here, projecting it from up here, and that gives us this number down here, around 17,000. So even though Bitcoin is still looking bearish in the sense, on the short term, if I just jump back in the weekly and we finish on this, let me just clean this up. TradingView is a brilliant software. You can actually change what is seen on different time frames. Let me just clean this up so it's easier for us to see those, so we don't get too distracted. Let's clean that up there. Bang. All right. So we're looking at a potential coming towards the end of a major weekly low. Like we're talking about since November, we've had this massive move down from almost $70,000 all the way down to under $20,000. That's a big correction, right? One of the biggest to date for Bitcoin. And we've been anticipating this, right? It's pretty common with Bitcoin for it to retrace 70% and 70% plus. What would we want to see, or even on the weekly chart, is we want to see this high get exceeded. A bit lower, and then this high get exceeded, and then this high is what we said, right? And if that happens, then it's likely over the weeks and months to come, we're likely going to see Bitcoin in some type of, it won't be in a straight line. It won't be in a straight line because it's got some work to do, but it's all-time new highs. So there you have it. Now, if you want to join the R15 Crypto Gym, it's in the description link below. I use Bitcoin as a macro indicator that gives me a feel for what the market's doing. And we are currently shorting Solana. This is making some good profits on this, and we're looking for our next entry points over here, and we're also shorting BNB, right? BNB, we entered all the way up here, and we've made some good profits on the way down with risk-free guaranteed profit, but we're now waiting for an ABC pullback, and we're doing daily workouts on this every morning, me doing the workouts, and you'll get timely information, and then we're waiting for the next movement to the downside, which correlates with Bitcoin nicely, so that gives us more confidence that this is likely going to occur. Your back end will look like this. You get a boot camp, you get my charts, you get daily workouts, and some other goodies. You even get to join my private Telegram, and it's £1 for 7 days to trial out my gym, and it's all about increasing your financial health to take your life to the next level. It's in the description link below if you want that. Right, let's finish on a quote from my book, The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. We are going to go for chapter 4. Is Benjamin Franklin, and he says the following: he or she who is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Now, one of the reasons I created the R15 Crypto Gym is actually to do daily consistent workouts to improve your technique and choose one or two and possibly a third coin to really see, where the rubber meets the road. Elliott wave counts, the Fibonacci price ratios with the wave relationships, Fibonacci time, and then adding in momentum. And all of those coincide for something called a confluence of events. And when there's a high probability edge, we trade that edge without hesitation or reservation in a fearless, confident manner, but without being reckless. In other words, we risk 1, 2, or 3% of our entire account size for that position. And if we're right, we ride that trend, we compound, we add to the position, and we ride that trend because the trend is your friend. You want to ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. And at the moment, Solana and BNB is down. Bitcoin is likely going to make new lower low that we just saw today. We want to use that information. I advise you, I encourage you to stop watching the news. The news is the worst way to literally place your trades or your positions. Why? Because it's designed to throw you off. Most people are 2 steps behind the market. I use leading indicators, Elliott wave theory and Fibonacci price combined with Elliott wave, combined with Fibonacci time and momentum. All of those allow us to see what's highly probable going to happen tomorrow. And we can base our decisions today on what's likely to occur tomorrow. And that's what you call high probability trading. So give me a like, subscribe, bell notification. I'm bringing daily value like this. Join me for my next workout tomorrow morning. Today's workouts just got launched for Solana and BNB. Very high probability setups. In the next 2 days, we're looking to add to our positions on the short side, which, making some good profits. And then we're just going to pyramid in terms of compound, add to our positions, and really ride that trend. And then we're looking for a trend reversal, which will coincide with Bitcoin, what we're anticipating for all-time new highs for many cryptocurrencies. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Join me tomorrow in the gym. It's only £1 for a 7-day trial. I'm telling you, you'll be delighted that you did it. We're getting great feedback. So I'll see you in tomorrow's workout.